Good morning. How everybody doing this morning? I just got a quick word, and I'm not going to say that God told me to get on here and give it. I even started to title this, Am I Dealing in My Feelings Again? But just thinking about sometimes how things unfold, and if we really pay attention to it, it could be God pointing out things to you that's in you that you're not understanding, or helping you to understand those feelings that stirred up in you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what come to me when I was praying. As I was praying, I was asking God, really, where do we go? Where do I go from now? And to help me to take it, you know what I mean? Because I've been listening to the motivational things, and some stuff they said stuck out. And I remember how I used to be when I was younger. Like, if they can get it, I can get it too. So I was basically speaking to the Lord. I was saying, Lord, help me to pull my pants up, fasten my pants, put on my shoes, put my shirt on, and get going. You know what I mean? And as I was asking that, he was taking me back to different scriptures that he had me reading, and the one that he was pointing out specifically was Joshua chapter 7, verse 19 and 25, and 1 Samuel chapter 3. And he told me to read all of 1 Samuel chapter 3, and then in his spirit realm, I seen verse 17, just, like come forward, like. So anyway, make a long story short, I was thinking about like, okay, here we go again, being sent back to stuff that I read over and over and over and over and over again. And, stuff was coming to me about stuff that had happened to me in the church, and how, certain church leaders made it known that I wasn't a spiritual son and all that old stuff like that, and I was basically saying, okay, I done been rejected a whole bunch of times, I done got to the point now where, hey, so, I was kind of, while I was in there, not really wanting to listen, or not listening in the way that I should be, because I realized now there's some things being pointed out, because I was also being told about Joshua. When I asked about the story of Joshua, why is I'm being sent back there again? And it got pointed out to me that the story of Joshua was about Achan and taking and coveting something that God didn't want, that God wanted to be destroyed. He didn't want it nowhere around him or nowhere around his people. He wanted to destroy it. So he was bringing back to my attention about how you got people that's coveting or keeping things that God is telling them to destroy and get rid of. And how he didn't told them this, and he made this clear. Also come revealing to me now, I understand it now, is that, just like that right there about people that's holding on to things that he's telling them to let go or destroy is also, a reflection on the leaders and other people taking and coveting things that doesn't belong to them but belong to someone else. And I'm reflecting back on how long God has really been talking to me about this, and how long it took for me to really understand, even get a little understanding about coveting. Because, it wasn't really being taught or taught or teached on, nothing like that. But God has been here, had me reading Ezekiel chapter 33 since 2011. I done started really comprehending or getting an understanding about the coveting thing to 2019, 2020, but 2017, it kind of amped up, and I wasn't catching it because I really didn't understand it. So anyway, make a long story short, he making it clear about people that's taking and covering things that don't belong to them, about people taking a hold on the things that he wanted to get rid of. This is what I was praying, and this is what I'm getting from it. Okay, this is what I'm getting from it. And so he had me to take and read, or come to me to take and read, 1 Samuel chapter 3 and Joshua chapter 7, verse 19 to 25. So I read it, and when I got to 1 Samuel, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm basically, instead of reading it and let it talk to me, it didn't talk to me in the way it was supposed to until I got to Proverbs. And I done read 1 Samuel chapter 3 thousands of times, for real, literally, and Joshua. At one point in time, I was reading that every day, 2-3 times a day, both of them. So anyway, we're going to start with Proverbs chapter 3, and I'm just going to say thank you, Lord, and mercy on us, For I know that it's you that we need. I know that we can't do nothing without you. I know that you're the way, the truth, and the light. I know this, Father Yahweh. I know this, Yeshua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And I will call on no other. No other. You are my God. You are my Lord. You are my Savior. And I know I can't do nothing in the right way without you. Because I'm not 100% God like you are. But I hope one day to hear you say, well done, my faithful and good servant, or well done, my child, my son. That's what I'm hoping for. Because I believe that heaven is real and hell is real. And I'm just asking that you minister to us as I do this. Okay, now let's go to Proverbs. Let's start with Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7. Let's start with that. Now we go to Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7, and just listen to what it's saying. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7, it says, he that reproves a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebukes a wicked man getteth to himself a bloat. Now here it is. It's saying that, but to understand, you got to go one verse up, one verse down. So let's go to verse 6. It says, forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding, and go in the way of the understanding. He that reproves a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebukes a wicked man getteth to himself a bloat. Verse 8, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Now, verse 8 is very, very powerful, because it's making it known if you reprove a scorner, that he will hate thee. He said, reprove a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. So a person that has some understanding and some wisdom, they'll know when wisdom is crying out to them, or wisdom or understanding is speaking to them. They will know this. But a foolish man will not. So we back up and we go to verse 11. Here it is. God is taking and he's speaking to us that has an ear to hear, and to us that has a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of knowledge, and we're seeking for more understanding and wisdom. He's speaking to us here. And he's saying, he that reproves a scorner getteth to himself shame. He that rebukes a wicked man getteth unto himself a blow. Now, if we pay attention to the verse up above it, it said, forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. Okay? Then you get down to verse 8, it speaks about a wise man. So if you take that in the Bible where it say, how can two walk together Basically, lest they on one accord. Okay, so I'm looking at it like, how can two walk together unless they are both seeking wisdom, understanding, and knowledge and righteousness? Okay, if the foolish is saying, verse 8, it's saying, forsake the foolish. Okay, if you know that it's somebody that you trying to talk to, but they just stuck on that foolishness, the Lord is telling you, let that go. Just like he was telling me to let certain things go, but I just couldn't. And I was studying, trying to push and trying to help and trying to do other things. So here it is. I got caught up in that part where it says right here, he that reproves was going to get it to himself shame. So shame fell up on me because I wasn't listening. So in this with Joshua, chapter 7, verse 19 to 25, and here with 1 Samuel chapter 3, here it is. God, he's speaking to his sons and his daughters that once walked with him, because in this thing, you pay attention, Achan, Joshua, them was his people. They knew that God was a wise and all-knowing God. Both of them knew this. Samuel and Eli, Samuel coming to understand that right here in chapter 3, started understanding who God was, but Eli knew all along. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that this is 911 right here. And Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7 is going to back up what I'm saying. Because in here, right here in verse 7, when it says, he that reproves a scorner getteth to himself shame, it's said in 9 words. Let's make sure so I ain't making no mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 words till you get to shame. And then it says, he that rebukes a wicked man getteth to himself a bloat. Okay? Said 11 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 9, 1, 1. 9, 11. What is that? That's the, what do we, 9, 11, emergency. Calling for help or a phone call being made. This is a 911 and God is speaking. I feel. Okay? I feel. Let me put emphasis on that. And the reason why I feel that, and I'm not saying it in a prideful way, is because what happened, I read Joshua chapter 7, verse 19 and 25, and 1 Samuel chapter 3, the whole thing, and then nothing hit me. Then nothing hit me. Until I came to Proverbs, and I started reading Proverbs, and I got to chapter 7. Okay? And as that happened, you know what I mean? I said, okay. And I went back. Then when I went back to this, let me do it the right way, Lord. Let me do it the right. No. I take that back. When I got there, sorry. Proverbs come later. And that's what made me get on here. Forgive me. Thank you. I read Joshua chapter 7, then I read 1 Samuel chapter 3. When I got the 1 Samuel chapter 3, I was told to pay attention to verse 17. So I felt like somebody was playing in the spirit, because I already know that's a very important verse. But I didn't come to realize that it could have been God till later, okay? And the reason why, help me do this the right way, Lord, because I feel that this is speaking, and I want them to be able to hear this right now. So read Samuel chapter 3, and I read Joshua chapter 7, verse 19 to 25. So here it is. I was told to pay attention to verse 17 in 1 Samuel chapter 3. So I just like, okay, I already know that's an important verse. Arrogance, pride, because I know that's a powerful verse, because I know the numbers is in everything, stuff that lead to. So I'm just overlooking it. I'm like, okay, somebody playing in the spirit, me. So when I get down to verse 18, I read it and I overlook it too. And I go on to the end. Then something take me and have me go back over again when I get to verse 18. And it says, and Samuel told him every whit, and he had nothing from him. And he said, it is the Lord, let him do what seems him good. I look down, I see that the numbers match with Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 18. So when I see this is what started coming to me. And this happened. This is how I end up in Proverbs. Okay, that's how it went. This is how I end up in Proverbs. So this is what come to me as I read and see the number of months. Just start coming to me, speaking to me. And y'all that have discernment, it is y'all know what I'm saying is true. This is coming to 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 18 speaks to Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 18. 3 plus 23 equals 26. Okay. Then it say, then it start coming to me. He will have those that he speaks to in this season. Okay, right fast. He will have those that he speak to in this season that his word will manifest like it did with Jeremiah and Samuel. Woe to Eli of today. Woe. Now, I realized I was writing fast because I was trying to write down what was coming to me. But I'm for sure that this part right here said, he will have those that he speak to in this season, that it basically was saying that his word will manifest like it did with Jeremiah and Samuel. Woe to the Eli's of the day, woe. Now I'm asking you, Lord, right here while I'm on here right now, to help me to say exactly how it was coming to me at that particular time, so they would know, that it's you. Basically, was being said here in this, I feel, because I ain't gonna get on line like, okay, Lord, down all this. Right now, nothing is coming to me, but I know as I read that it was speaking to me in this way. Sometimes, like I said, I have trouble spelling. I have trouble writing stuff down like I'm hearing it, because sometimes it comes with a flow and I don't be able to keep up with it. That's no excuse, because the Holy Spirit can help you with all that. I'm a witness to that. So that right there, making it be where some doubt is rising up in me and something is saying to me at the same time right now without me hearing it. Don't doubt it, because the Lord is finna make it known that those that he's speaking to in this season, he's going to let it be known that he's speaking to them like he was speaking to Samuel and Jeremiah back in them days. The word that he speaks to them will manifest in this season that he speaks to them. So, other words, we won't have to be taking and waiting 5-6 years down the road for something to happen. There's going to be things that he's going to be speaking to those that he's speaking to in this season that's going to manifest just like it manifests when he took and he spoke to Samuel and to Jeremiah. The word is going to come into fruition, okay? So it's not going to be a whole bunch of delays on things that he's going to be saying. So some of this that he's going to be speaking, just my take on it, is going to be a for now word. It's not going to be something that 4 or 5 years down the road. Because I know it's things that he's spoken to me back in 2010, 2011. I'm just starting to see it happen right now. But it's going to be people that he's going to be speaking to now, in this season where he's going to let it be known that he's speaking to them, because the words are going to manifest. So anyway, I noticed that, and I noticed that the 3 and the 23 makes 26. You know, as I was taking it doing that, I said, okay, maybe this is just me dealing in my feelings, and it's coming to me in that way. You know, then when I got to Proverbs, and when I got to Proverbs, it got to speaking about, you know, the foolish, you know, and a man that tried to take and right here, let me just read. He that reproves a scorner get into himself shame, and he that rebukes a wicked man get into himself a blow. So I'm sitting up there saying to myself, you know, I've been trying to get these warnings, you know what I mean, and it seems like ain't nobody listening. So what I got to do now is get a warning, start worrying about it, and it's from God. He's gonna make it manifest. That's when what come to me that I wrote down. I ain't even write them up. I wrote it down here because I was trying just grab a piece of paper and I went to writing because I was trying to keep up what was coming to me. And I end up not, you know, not writing it down here like you're doing. I'm hoping that the Lord let y'all know that basically what he's saying is that the word he's gonna be putting in the mouth of those that he's speaking to, words that's gonna manifest in this season is what I'm really taking from this. That was coming to me. It ain't gonna be no prolonged thing. So, you know, that's what I'm taking. The only reason why I'm getting on here and saying it because I know that according to this right here in Proverbs chapter 7, that fools ain't gonna heed it. But a wise man will receive it in his heart. Just like Eli knew that his sons was taking and doing wrong. He knew that it was taking and doing wrong. But when Samuel spoke, what did Eli say? Verse 18. And Samuel told him every whit, and he had nothing from him. And he said, it is the Lord. Let him do what seems him good. He received that word. He knew that that word came from the Lord. Now, if you pay attention to Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 18, and I'm going to end after this. I hear you in the spirit saying I shouldn't have got on. I'm dealing with my feelings again. I'm dealing with my feelings again. Y'all going to know. You know, I can't do nothing but laugh at y'all right now because I know the issues that I have, you know, and I'm starting to understand that God do use people like me. You know, I'm starting to understand the story of Moses and the story of other people that had study impairment like me, couldn't spell and all the rest of them. I'm starting to really get a better feel to it. So it's okay. You can mock me. You can mock me, God. I'm just going to start laughing at y'all. Anyway, when we take and we get to Jeremiah chapter 18, we pay attention to Jeremiah chapter 18 and to Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 18, forgive me, and 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 18, we pay attention. Here it is. He said, for who has stood in my counsel? For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord? Forgive me, because I just got to laugh at it. For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord and has received and heard his word, who has marked his word and heard it. Now here it is. Here it is. Samuel didn't even know God's voice. Eli had to tell him the next time when he comes. Don't take my word for it. Had to tell him the next time when he comes. He said right here, he said, therefore Eli said unto Samuel, lie down again, and it should be, if he call thee, thou should say, speak, Lord, for thy servant hears. So Samuel went and lay down. He didn't know his voice. Eli did. And Eli heard God speaking through the child. Now here it is. Samuel was in God's counsel and didn't even know it. Verse 18 is being asked right here, God talking to Jeremiah that knows God's voice. Jeremiah knows God's voice. And God saying to Jeremiah, for who has stood in the counsel of the Lord has received and has heard, who has marked his word and heard it. Yes, I know sometimes I speed when I'm doing stuff, and that's how I make my mistakes and my errors. But God finna let it be known what I'm saying. Shakur funny that kashnari. Anyway, so if we pay attention, here it is, God is saying who has stood in his counsel. Here it is, a child that didn't know God's voice was in his counsel. So other words, this me now. It's a lot of people, their hearts are open for doing the right thing that God is speaking to. And a lot of people are not recognizing it in the right way. And to all y'all out there that like I was for all those years, for over a decade, I was like, this can't be the Lord talking to me. All that doubt, you know what I mean? Ask the Lord to help you deal with that doubt. Because he's getting ready, and I'm going to say this boldly, he's getting ready to deal with a lot of Eli's. This last part that come to me, I know it came just like this. It said right here, this last part, I have no doubt that I wrote it down in the right way. It says, last part says, woe to the Eli's of today, woe. Now, I might have mixed up on writing down the rest of this, but I know I wrote that part down right. And I know that it was talking about the people that he was speaking to in this season, that they word, it wasn't going to be a word that was 2-3 years down the line. That their words was going to be manifested in the season that they're speaking it in. Now, I don't know, really some people say a season that go by like the seasons of the years. Some people consider a season to be maybe a half of a year or full year. Me, I'm taking this as within the year that they speak it in. This is just me. It's just me. Okay? Did God tell me? No, he did not tell me that. But this right here come to me out of nowhere when I got the verse 18 and I had doubt. So I got right here to Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7. Then I said, okay, the wise man that can have wisdom like Eli, and those that know like Joshua, they're hearing and they're know. And the rest of them, you know what I mean, don't battle with that. Don't make shame come up on you because you're trying to make them understand something that they won't understand. So got on here and I did this. I wasn't going to do it. And I'm not saying that God told me to get on here and give it. I'm not saying that either. I'm just telling y'all what happened. And I really feel in my heart, right after taking the reading this with Proverbs, because the way that Proverbs structure that about rebuking the scorner, but at the same time, if you say this to a wise man or a child of God, they're going to receive it. So I'm talking to those that love God, but not quite for sure, but have a heart for him. You know, ask him to help you deal with the doubt so you would know, so you can do what it is he's telling you to do. I'm speaking to you. And I'm speaking to the wise men, you know, the Eli's that know that what's going on is wrong. You ain't doing nothing about it. And I'm speaking to the Joshuas, the ones that's going in to conquer and to take lands and listening to the Lord and doing what the Lord is saying. Them the ones that I'm speaking to. Now, if a foolish man just so happen to stumble and fall and bang his head and come to his senses, and you wouldn't let, I'm talking to you too, okay? I believe that it come from the Lord. Did the Lord tell me get on here? No, and do it. Because I say, okay, am I dealing in my feelings again? You know, and the more and more I talk, the more and more that I'm understanding there ain't no coincidence in some of this stuff. How do I get sent to 1 Samuel and Joshua? And then when I get to 1 Samuel, I'm being told to pay attention to verse 17. And what do verse 17 say? Verse 17 says this right here, and I'm going to end with this. Verse 17 in 1 Samuel chapter 3, it says this. Verse 17. Read verse 17. Verse 17 said, and he said, what is the thing that the Lord has said unto thee? I prayed thee had it not from me. God do so to thee and more also if thou had anything of all the things that he said unto thee. Then right after that is 18, and 18 is a reflection of Jeremiah. It's the flip side of Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 18. It's the flip side. God asked him, who has stood in my counsel? Right here it is. A child is in his counsel and don't know it. Then when you put the two chapters and the verses, put the two chapters together, you get 26. We're coming into the year of 26. I mean, I can go on and on and on, because if you take and you break down the 18, you get 9. Proverbs chapter 9. And then if you do the other 18, you break that down, you get 9. Again, Proverbs chapter 9. And then when you put the two 9s together, you get the 18 again. So it's going right back to the 18 verses on both of them. And they're the flip side of one another. I'm gone. Have a blessed day. Love y'all.